The film opens with the main character Jake Sully Contaminate portraying his straightforward and tranquil existence with his family in Pandora. As the head of the Omotokaya clan, he specifies that he and his significant other Natiri have a sum of 5 kids, now 2 children Natayam and Loke, a little girl Tak, their embraced girl Kiri, and a human kid named Bug. Jake proceeds to explain the Kiri is the little girl of his dear companion Elegance, who passed on while aiding the Na'vi individuals' battle against people. Concerning Bug, he was left behind when every one of the people got back to Earth in the wake of losing their fight. Jake states that the kids play together and take great consideration of each other in spite of being different in variety and body size. Jack makes reference to that every one of the kids live respectively like a family anyway. Natiri could do without Bug since he is uncovered to be the child of Colonel Miles Quaritch, the detestable man who nearly cleared off the novice. Incidentally, Bug was abandoned on Pandora since he was excessively little to be shipped back to Earth. As he says, you can't place children into cry of rest. Kiri then again has unique association with Bug and is truly attached to him, as the human kid has consumed all of his time on Earth with the Na'vi individuals. He imagines that he is one of them. One night when Natiri and Jack are talking, they saw a few splendid spaceships overhead. Unexpectedly, the spaceships move toward them and begin unleashing ruin. The Omotokaya territory is burned with fire, bringing about far and wide obliteration and passings of numerous creatures from the spaceships. A gathering of warriors with mechanical gunnery arise and polish off whatever else is left of the spot. Natiri and Jake, who are watching from far off, are stunned to discover that it is a RDA spaceship conveying people who are there to colonize Pandora and construct another really working station. The scene then, at that point, movements to one of the human labs where researchers have effectively made a Na'vi clone of the piece. He has been taken care of with the recollections and information that were gathered preceding his demise. In light of this, the Colonel's clone knows it all, aside from who killed him and how. Alongside the Colonel, the researchers have additionally produced the clones of different troopers who were available during their past assault on Pandora. Subsequently, the Colonel and his men are dead set on obliterating the Omotokaya, and specifically Jake. In the meantime, trying to avoid gatecrashers, Jake drives a Na'vi armed force towards the RDA train supply lines. He effectively penetrates it and figures out how to take ammo and food supplies. During this activity, one of his children, Loach, doesn't pay attention to his orders and gets himself injured. Jake reprimands him and requests that he be more focused from this point forward. Then again, the Colonel meets his senior General Ardmore, who illuminates him about the Naval Force's flying accomplices called Scounds. They are at present going after their helicopters and dialing them back. Hearing this, Quaritch makes an expert arrangement to attack the Timberland where they fought already and accumulate some data about them. Soon he shows up at the woodland alongside his different colleagues. Tragically, Jake's youngsters are likewise messing about in a similar Timberland. Right then, the Colonel checks out the past war zone and finds his automated suit with his remain stays still inside. This is all seen by Loke, and he promptly contacts his dad with the assistance of a voice transmitter around his neck. Jake pays attention to this and recommends that Lokes avoid them and leave the spot unobtrusively. He and Natiri then fly toward the woodland to mind their youngster security. Tragically, when Loke and his kin attempt to escape, they are caught by the people. The Colonel investigates their fingers and becomes acquainted with that they are his archrivals. Youngsters. All of a sudden, Natiri and Jake show up there and assault the warriors. They figured out how to free the majority of their youngsters, yet not Bug. The young men sadly removed by the malevolent people. Some other time, when the Colonel asks Bug his name, he rapidly comprehends that he is his child. Back in Omotokaya, Jake approaches his significant other and proposes that they leave the spot and head towards the eastern seaboard. He is stressed over Bug uncovering their area to the Colonel and his kin. Jake additionally tells Natiri that until he is there with the clan, the people will continue to go after them, as he is the person who killed Colonel Quaritch. In any case, Nate Terry would rather not leave her delightful home, yet she realizes that anything her better half is saying is valid. Consequently, she consents to relocate with him. Then again, Broad Ardmore dishes as some savagery on Bug by setting him in a pivoting machine. Yes, put him in the little exposed human spinny machine that will make him talk. He attempts to extricate significant data from the kid, yet without any result. Bug is excessively faithful to his Na'vi guardians, and he simply won't move. Shockingly, the Colonel can't see his child in this state, so he quickly stops the turning machine. He then, at that point, moves toward the General and tells her that he will deal with Bug in his own specific manner. Later, he meets the kid in a different room and consoles him that he's not a terrible individual. He likewise unveils that he's here to return him to Earth. This fills up Bug's heart, and he in the end consents to furnish him with the data he needs. In the following scene, Jake and his whole family leave their local home and fly away on their scouts. Subsequent to flying for a couple of days, they at last show up at a spot called Metkana, where another Na'vi clan resides. Shockingly, the Na'vi is residing here are fainter in variety, and they like to remain in the water. Seeing Jake and his pack, they begin Ridiculing their appearance, soon the top of the clan Tanawari shows up with his better half. He has a distrustful outlook on Jake and his family and notices that they are not fit to get by in the water anyway. Frantic to save his family, Jake guarantees that they will adjust to the spot in a matter of seconds. He then, at that point, uncovers how they are being pursued by certain people. Hearing this, Tanawari at long last consents to allow them to remain and gives them cover. He likewise requests that his kids show Jake's kids how to swim and utilize their exceptional animals to move around the water. Obliging to the solicitation, Tanaware's youngsters take their new companions to the sea and begin showing them the rudiments. In the meantime, the very wicked Lohak attempts to interface with an ocean animal, yet lets completely go and falls into the water. Seeing him, Tanawari's kids begin snickering. As this is occurring, the young lady Kiri should be visible somewhere inside the sea. Shockingly, she has adjusted well to the spot and could handle a few ocean animals. Strange and helpful. The next day, while Kiri is thinking submerged, Tanawari's child Ayanang and his companions approach her and begin ridiculing her, calling her an oddity. Due to this, Loke shows up and punches Anang. Doesn't bring this plunking down, however, and begins applauding some ass with his tick tail. Some other time, when Jake learns about the occurrence, he irately arranges his child to proceed to apologize to Anang, as he is the group chief's child. Hesitantly, Loak concurs and says sorry, despite the fact that Anang excuses him before the others. Where it counts, he is as yet furious, so to show low juvenile, he takes him to a booked area on the guise of swimming. Loke is totally negligent that there are risky ocean hunters in the space. Some other time, when Loke is fishing, an enormous hunter swims at him. Quickly unnerved, apprehensive Loach searches for help, yet neglects to find anybody yet. All at once, a humongous animal named Payakan acts the hero. It quickly kills the hunter with the assistance of its wide head. Here we get to know that Payakan is a token, a quiet and clever animal. There are huge number of tokens in the ocean, which the Medakina see as their profound family. Payakan is the biggest and mightiest of them all. Meanwhile, Loke is protected and brought to the surface by Payakan. The last option additionally helps the animal by taking out certain spears which were evidently harming it. With this, the two make a lovely security and become friends with one another. Lohak even trips through his blowhole. It's nauseating. Some other time, when Loke arrives at land, he is called up by Tanawari. The severe pioneer is learned about his child's trickeries and needs Anong to apologize anyway. This sacrificial low demonstration acknowledges liability regarding his activities and falsehoods that Anong didn't have anything to do with it. This at long last makes Anong comprehend that the new naval forces are not so awful after all. After some time, Loak reunites with his sibling and companions and makes sense of how Payakan saved his life. Incredibly, nobody accepts him. Rather, they uncover that Payakan is an executioner, and that is the reason it was deserted by the other Tulkuns. Then again, Bug briefs the bit about some Navi culture and takes him to the Glory Be Mountains to choose a scout for him. At first the colonel battles, yet soon he gets its hang and flies her out. Not long after, he likewise gets data about Jake's conceivable area and heads towards the Metkana reef with his military. On showing up, he defies a portion of the Zoras and asks in the event that they know Jake. When the naval forces say no, the underhanded people kill one of them and furthermore copy their homes. Regardless of this, the novice stand by their proclamation. Left without any choices, the colonel flags his group to go for plan B. Now he needs to kill the device firearms in enormous numbers, trusting that this will at last draw out Jake. Yet there is one more benefit to killing them. The Talcans have a valuable fluid inside their cerebrums which can expand the lifespan of life on Earth. A solitary head of this fluid will go for million space whale cerebrum goop, the main asset, more important than unobtainium. Soon a few trackers begin pursuing the ocean beasts. They strike various trackers into them and render them oblivious. In a sad scene, we can see a mother token fiercely laid to death while her posterity lays by her in shock. The people ultimately leave with the trackers still inside the tokens. When the Mechaina found that their companions are winding up dead, they become upset and choose to draw in with the aggressors. Anyway, Jake quiets them down and notices that they need to illuminate the tokens about the trackers first. This is the main way that they can forestall a future strike. When Loke hears this, he leaves to illuminate his closest companion Payakan about it. Ayanang and a couple of different local people likewise go along with him. Inevitably, they in the end meet Payakan and plan to haul the tracker out of him. Yet all at once the colonel and his hunting group show up in their whale transport. In the wake of seeing them, Loke interfaces with his dad and illuminates him about the circumstance. At the last possible second, he and his companions additionally figured out how to haul the tracker out from Payakan's body. After this, they stow away submerged while the colonel's team begins searching for them. In the meantime, Jake approaches Tanawari and illuminates him that their kids are feeling the loss of this. Stresses the last matter, and he rapidly arranges his kin to plan for war. Jake and Natiri additionally got their weapons, and soon every one of them all in all head towards the combat zone. Then again, the colonel arranges his team to send off their assault on the device and track down Jake's youngsters. Subsequent to looking for some time, they ultimately track down Kiri and took and catch them in a net. Loke makes an honest effort to tear the net, yet gets himself pulled to the whale transport with it. Soon the colonel shows up and sleeves them to the railing of the boat. He then, at that point, takes Locke's variety transmitter and requests that Jake give up for the security of his youngsters. Having no choices, Jake consents to his circumstances. Simultaneously, Payakan sees his dearest companion Loach bound to the deck, and he chooses to save him. In a dangerous move, he unexpectedly hops onto the deck and starts moving his monstrous blades. This discards a ton of troopers and destroys the boat. Exploiting the interruption, Jake and the Medikina additionally send off their assault on the colonel and his military. They need to save their youngsters, yet they additionally need retribution. In the meantime, Bug breaks the regulator of the whale transport, making it strike the stones and permit water to fill inside it. Next, Jake and his oldest child Nadium immediately climbed the deck and free Loach, Took and Kiri. Then they requested the youngsters to get back to somewhere safe and secure, yet Loach declines. Rather, he chooses to save his embraced siblings. Bug Nataim likewise goes along with him, and after a touch of looking through, they track down Bug. When they are going to leave the boat, the colonel sees them and starts shooting. Sadly, Nathan gets hit by one of the shots and is seriously harmed. Loach and Bug promptly take him to the shore to their mom, but since of the unreasonable blood deficit, he dies, seeing her child bite the dust directly before her eyes. Nateri begins crying and shouting boisterously. In the meantime, the malevolent colonel figures out how to catch Kyrie and Fold utilizing his scound. He later interfaces with Jake and uncovers that his two girls are with him. In the wake of getting this data, Jake some way or another quiets Nathari down and convinces her to go along with him and save their little girls. The last option obliges, and loaded up with rage, she calls her scound, snatches her bow and bolts, and goes flying towards the boat. Soon Jake approaches the boat and causes a blast, killing the colonel's men. Natari additionally shows up there and starts shooting bolts at the excess people, killing them all quickly. In the meantime, Jake finds his little girl Took and liberates her, and yet the colonel likewise shows up. He is holding Kiri at blade point. He compromises Jake to put down his weapons, and the last option hesitantly does as such. Meanwhile, a wrathful Natiri catches Bug and takes steps to kill him. At first, the colonel specifies that he has no relationship with Bug except for when Natiri makes a little cut in the kid's chest. He quickly leaves Kiri with this. Nathari and her family get ready to leave, yet the colonel makes reference to that he will again chase Jake down and kill him later. Jake understands that he wants to wipe out the colonel to carry on with a tranquil life. Consequently, he gets back to the front line. This time, the arch-rivals battle each other in an antiquated clench hand battle. It is a ruthless one, and the two match each other step for step, yet in the end our legend Jake wins. He figures out how to fold his arms over the colonel's neck and thump him oblivious. Jake expects that he is dead and allows him to suffocate in the water. Tragically, he also battles to inhale and begins sinking to the base, and yet Loach acts the hero and carries him to the surface. Later, Payakan conveys the entire family and welcomes them to the shore. Then again, Bug likewise hauls his natural father out of the water and saves his life, yet when the colonel requests that he leave the spot with him, Bug rejects and gets back to his supportive family. In the last scene, Jake's family and the entire Medikina clan cover Nataim's body at the lower part of the sea, where the lighting tubes embrace him like their own. The film closes with Jake recalling the best recollections of his senior child and understanding that he is in paradise with their divine beings. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.